Jesus is on the eve of his death, and he's leaving us a will, a testament, a legacy for every one of us to follow. And that's what we are celebrating this evening. You know, in the recent weeks, especially this week, I was very saddened because I lived in Brussels for 5 years before I came to the United States in 2001. And I was working there based in Brussels, and I had to travel quite a lot as a chaplain of the international youth movement. And so I would be in and out of that Brussels airport. And when I heard about the bomb blast and 31 people died in Brussels, my heart has been aching. I have been in pain throughout this week. Why would people do such drastic things? And my memory went back to Yemen. It was on March 4th that 16 people were gunned down. They had just finished the mass in the convent where they were working for the old people. Missionaries of Charity, 5 of them, the nuns founded by Mother Teresa. In fact, Mother Teresa established the convent in Yemen to take care of the poorest of the poor, the dying people there, not to make any gain. And 5 nuns were working, and there was Father Tom Urunalil, a missionary, a Salesian missionary from South India, from Kerala, the state from where I come. He has been working as a chaplain. In fact, Mother Teresa always told they will not establish a convent if they do not have a priest to celebrate Mass for them every day. And so there was this priest. They finished the Mass around 7:30 in the morning, and they were already getting back to work. It was around 8 o'clock in the morning. And gunmen came to the campus, and they started shooting. And 2 sisters were running to inform the priest. Father Tom was praying in the church, and he knew that there would be problems. So quickly conceived all the Holy Eucharist that was left from the Mass. And then they came, handcuffed him, and they put him in the car, and then went around taking the nuns' lives. Before they would kill the nuns, they killed the servants, 12 of them. Then 4 more nuns, they were handcuffed and shot point blank, putting their head to the ground. There was one sister who was going to tell the priest about this. She happened to be in the refrigerator room behind the door, and the assassins did not see her. She was the superior of that convent. She lived that day to tell the story to the rest of people. 4 nuns, missionaries of charity, who had totally given themselves to God, to the people who they were caring for, they were gunned down. And soon, by about 10 o'clock, they left. By 10:30, police came, and this nun, who was alive, was a superior, was taking care and collecting the bodies, going around each room to check if others were killed or they were okay. And then the police told her to go to the medical center and to be away from that place because they would come back for her. But she wanted to stay there. And she was always in remorse. When she gave her first witness account, she said, "Why didn't I also die along with my sister?" And her superiors in India told her, "God wanted you to live so that you can share this story, this truth with the rest of humanity." And she's alive. Of course, she is tormented because her dear sisters and 16 people were gunned down on 4th of this month, March there. Death is all around us. And we are about to take part in that event that took place 2,000 years ago when Jesus himself was killed. Death is a reality. And before he would accompany the cross and would be nailed to the cross, he spent some time with his dear ones. He leaves behind a powerful legacy, a will and testament for us to follow. Now, there is a rumor that Father Tom Urunalil, the priest who was taken away by the bandits or by the thugs, that he would be crucified tomorrow like Jesus. So I want you to pray for this priest. And this priest used to tell the nuns there very often, we may have to become martyrs. They may kill us, because there was several times warning that their lives were at risk. And soon after this event took place, Pope Francis declared during his Angelus message to the humanity, and he said, these 4 nuns are martyrs today. They died for their faith, selflessly giving themselves. And that's what Jesus himself did 2,000 years ago. Selflessly gave himself for you and for me, that we may live, that we may have eternal life. And today is also the anniversary of the foundation or establishment of priesthood in the church. And so many priests across the world give themselves selflessly. I want to acknowledge 2 of our wonderful priests who give themselves selflessly for Holy Spirit parishioners. Father Brandon, Father Lee, would you please stand? Thank you so much. I'm really happy. I have very good supporting priests here in the parish. We are abundantly blessed by God for giving us good priests who serve the people of God here in the Holy Spirit, here in our community. And today is also the anniversary of the establishment of the Holy Eucharist. And Jesus told, take and eat, take and drink, giving us his own body, his own blood. And we are very blessed, very fortunate, dear brothers and sisters. We can partake of his body and make Christ alive each time we consecrate the Holy Eucharist. Jesus loved us to the point that he never wanted to leave you and me as orphans. He wanted to remain with us. So he established this as a memorial. He wanted to stay and feed us, continue to nourish us, to support us. This is a sacrament of love. This is a sacrament of healing. This is a sacrament of forgiveness. This is a sacrament of life eternal. How blessed we are to partake of this Holy Eucharist week after week. After establishing that Eucharist, or prior to that, Jesus gave us another mandate, a commandment, which we heard in the gospel of today. He took off his outer garment, bent down, and started washing the feet of the apostles. You know Palestine. Some of you have been to Palestine or Israel or Egypt. Those days, 2,000 years ago, the roads were dusty. And who walked besides people on the road? Camel, mule, horses. And they would, of course, bestow those dung along with them on their pathway. And people would walk on that dirty, dusty places. And when they would come home, before entering a home, normally the slaves took out the sandals and washed their feet so that they will not be bringing stinking feet into the house. And now the Master and Lord bending down and washing the stinking feet of those apostles. We're going to do that right now. But there's a big difference. The feet won't be stinking this evening. I know those who are coming this evening, they are washed their feet. So it will be a joyful event for Father Brandon, Father Lee, and myself to wash 12 people here up this evening. But that was not the reality that time. He wanted to leave us a beautiful legacy, a beautiful example for us to follow. And Jesus said, if I, your Master and Lord, did this, you do likewise. Here at the Holy Spirit, I always wonder, how are we washing the feet of the people around us? I can see in the community crowd here, gathered here, that many of you wash the feet of one another in many, many ways. I am very humbled by the way that you do service to our people here. There are many of you ministering to the table of plenty, serving the poorest of the people. Every Saturday, when we have 80 people being given warm, healthy food. Week after week, our members of St. Vincent de Paul serve the poorest of the poor people in small ways, giving them food, giving them a little money to pay their bills, supporting them, making them, restoring them, and showing them that they have dignity to live with. In many, many ways, there are so many of you washing the feet of one another here at this place in the Holy Spirit. I really admire you. And I only wish and pray if more and more people will join these wonderful ministry, while we can serve and follow what Jesus did on that Last Supper night. Let me end with a beautiful story which has remained part of me for a long time. A few business people, they were in San Francisco, somewhere near Union Square, having a business meeting. And it was a Friday evening, and the meeting ran a little extra time, and they had to catch the evening flight back to Los Angeles. Now, they came out of their office, and they were trying to get into a taxi. And as they were trying to run for the taxi, they saw a taxi there, one of the streets in the Union Square, and they were all running. And inadvertently, one of them hit a stand. Literally hit. I was only acting out, don't worry, okay? One of the businessmen, his name was Paul, and some others, they hit a stand that was full of fruits, and there were other produce there. And that stand got tumbled down. And then all the others who were running to the taxi, they got in the taxi and they were saying, Paul, come quickly, come quickly. Paul stopped. And he turned back and saw that stand all down, and he told them, you go. I will come later. They took off. Friday evening, rush hour. So Paul came back and helped to that. There was a woman standing there and lifted the fruit stand, started to rearrange the fruits on that stand again. And then he noticed that she was blind. Paul knelt down, picked up lots of oranges and apple and other fruits. In the meantime, there were hundreds of people passing by. Nobody cared to do anything. Paul continued, finished. Then he took out his wallet, took out a few bills and gave it to her and said, these are for the damaged fruits. Keep it. And then he started walking away. And then she called back, hey, mister, stop. Are you Jesus? He went back and told her, no, oh no. And then she said, when my stand fell and all the fruits were scattered, I prayed to Jesus that someone would help me, and you are that person. And Paul said no and walked off. He took a taxi, but it was bumper to bumper. He couldn't get to the airport in time. He missed the flight. He went to a hotel nearby in San Francisco airport to spend the night. But the whole time, he was thinking, because there were these words of that woman ringing in his mind, are you Jesus? Has anyone ever wanted seeing your action, are you Jesus? When is the last time that you confused someone for being Jesus? If you want to be Christ-like, bend down, wash the feet of people who need us. Serve others. Be Christ-like. That is the legacy that Jesus is leaving for all of us. Let us be Christ-like. Let us be servant-like. Let us be examples of Christ's love for the people around us. Amen.